Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time again for another episode of Health Talks with Dr. Trinh. The one show, the only show that shows you a path to the healthier life, even if it goes through the metaverse or some other strange place like that. Hey, we got Dr. Trinh here. He's always pushing the boundaries of medical knowledge, and I don't know how he's going to tie it in, but the metaverse, his fascination with the metaverse, takes on new meaning today as we bring in rap royalty, Arabian Prince, one of the founders of the super rap group NWA, live to us as he's playing golf. This is like a double dose here. He's going to play golf. He's going to update his score. And welcome back, sir. We're proud to have you on this station. Arabian Prince, what the heck do you have to do with the metaverse?
Oh, wow. Well, I have about as much to do, and excuse me, because I'm playing golf next to Santa Monica Airport, so it'll be noisy from time to time, so hopefully you can still hear me. But I have about as much to do with the metaverse as I do about golf. I'm actually good at both of them, so.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say you weren't good at either one of them here, but you're just interested.
So here's the first question. Arabian Prince is rapper. What does rapping have to do with the metaverse or technology? Huh.
Yeah. All right, let's get into that one. So I'll give you the 30 seconds. When I was young, growing up in Compton and, DJing and making music, you had to really learn electronics in order to be a DJ. So I, got really into that and then got into computers and sequencers because you had to learn that in order to make music, electronic music. And from there, video games happened, got into video games and started actually working for a couple of big video game companies, doing a lot of video game projects. So, from there,
wow.
I technically have been in the metaverse for 41 years, believe it or not.
Wow.
And let's just back up for those that may not instantly associate the name Arabian Prince. You were one of the founders of this super group NWA. They made the movie about it with who? A few other names we may have.
Lesser known people like Dr. Dre and Ice Cube, Randy, and Rest Easy. Yeah, those guys.
So all of you guys changed the face of music. You and others that pioneered this movement, and part of it was.
Yes.
It was very disruptive on every level. It was disruptive for the sound because it was a beat more than it was a melody. It was disruptive because you're bringing in sampling and sounds from other records and things and stuff. You were the DJ of the group sampling all this stuff as they're rapping in front of you and everything here. And all of that continues, and now we think it's just normal. That's a new genre of music that was created along the way. It didn't just come and go. It's created.
Yeah.
Look at the Super Bowl just this past Sunday here. How many rappers?
An amazing show.
It was like coming into its own. This has made it mainline. Coca-Cola is sponsoring the Super Bowl in rap music here. I mean, it's about as central to our culture as we think. And out of that, I guess what's fascinating me is you haven't just stayed in that world. As you talked about, you became fascinated with all this electronic gear and with electronic music and video games and all this. And you've been, I think, unbeknownst to most of the public, quite involved as an investor, as a VC, as a creator of more disruptive technology. That's what brings you down to our Beale Applied Innovation Center periodically here. We've got a rapper in the room. How did this happen?
Yes, and now, with the metaverse and all of the new technologies, Web 3.0, we're kind of getting into a new stratosphere of the next 10, 20 years. So I'm happy to be a part of that as well.
So define for everybody, Dr. Trinh talks to me about it all the time, sends me articles. I don't know why he's fascinated with this, but the metaverse, what is, for those who hear that term and don't know what it means, what do you call the metaverse? What is the metaverse?
So the metaverse is Web 3.0, and it's the next iteration of the World Wide Web, but it's more decentralized and it's more interactive, more open and interactive. So a lot of people, when they hear metaverse, they think VR goggles and that whole thing, you know, or Meta, like Facebook changed its name to Meta,
right?
You know, like, okay. And then, you know, they're trying to push their Oculus, you know, brand, but it's just more of an interactive web and decentralized web where people can interact and get services and go to events and interact with other businesses. Like I just heard, not JP Morgan, is it TD Waterhouse? One of the big companies has a bank in the metaverse now, or like a lounge or something, not a full bank, but a lounge as of yesterday. So everybody's taking it pretty seriously.
All right, so let me just give you a few more things, and Dr. Trinh, I know, has got a million questions here. I just want to set it up what it is. All right, so Web 1.0 was what? Just giving you access to information. It was like a giant library or a giant search engine. You want to find something, here it is. It's parked somewhere on the web. You can go get it. Web 2.0 was the social media revolution, connecting people to other people, not just people to information. Well, give me what would you call Web 3.0? People living in this space now and not just going in to get something and to chat for a moment, but somehow this is the world in which they communicate and hang out and plant their flag and have a building and have a retail store and all that.
Yes. Yeah, it's almost a mirror of the real world. And some of it's going to be fantasy world, but it's a mirror of the real world. You know, Guess, Gucci, not that they're paying me for this endorsement, but
they should be.
They should be. Of course they would. But big companies will have their stores in the metaverse. You'll see Amazon, you'll see, you know, CVS and everybody else.
And the idea is that you won't just go in and get something. You won't just go in and communicate for a moment. You will hang out and live there. So you will conduct, offices will conduct meeting in the metaverse, Zoom and then some. People will go to live concerts in the metaverse. People will create their own fantasy worlds that can be anything they want it to be. And I'm thinking of particularly my 8-year-old grandson who loves a thing called Roblox. If you don't have a kid of a certain age, you don't know what Roblox is, but go check out their stock. It's I think it came down a little bit recently, but it's been skyrocketing since the IPO. And the whole idea is that it gives you a place to create your own world. You don't just play a video game. You can do that, but you can build, as my grandson shows me all the time. Look at Grandpa. Here's what I did. I built this weird world, and you can climb up here and go over here, and there's a trap over here, and my friends hang out over here. And maybe we're all going to watch a movie together. We're all going to listen to music. We're all going to watch a live performance in this online world that mirrors the real world. And in that world, you can be anything you want to be. You can be a duck. You can be tall. You can be hidden. You can be anything you want to, or you can be yourself and be real. But it's open. I don't know. It scares people my age. Why does this scare everybody like me?
Well, you know, it's funny. It shouldn't, because like you mentioned, I think you said son or nephew or whoever. Grandson, he's been in the metaverse for the last 5-10 years in Roblox and Fortnite. Right. You know, so it's you know, we're just now, the older people are going, hey, this is something new. No, kids have been doing this forever. Kids have been in this space, interacting with their friends, doing all of these things, you know, forever.
Right.
So that's the difference.
That's a good point, because it's new to us, but in the gaming world, it's just normal. They're already in the metaverse.
Yeah, they're already in the metaverse doing their thing, you know. So, and, you know, and I hate to spill the beans, but I'm going to open the can of beans really quick. Okay. And me and Dr. Trinh and a few other friends of ours are getting ready to delve into the metaverse in another way. So,
really? Okay.
Yeah, maybe I'll let Dr. Trinh tell you a little more about that one.
All right. So what do you, I know Dr. Trin's fascinated with this, and I know he's trying to find practical uses. Like, he's also big into telemedicine and to communicating with patients outside of the office. Is that what this is part of, or is this a giant game? Something else, Dr. Trinh? What the heck are you doing?
We're working on projects well, first of all, I bought some land in the Walking Dead metaverse.
See, I know it. I know it. I know. This
Yeah,
is
you
all
got-
about your fascination with zombies. That's what it is. All right.
and I also got my picture. I'm gonna NFT it. My picture of my physician zombie.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think in this Walking Dead, I'm gonna run around as a doctor trying to eat people's brains.
I think that's only appropriate for a doctor in the metaverse. Here, don't help people, eat them. Okay.
Yes, eat them. But yeah, we're thinking about ways to, I don't know, about healthcare in the metaverse is what we're thinking about.
Right.
Just in general ways. I don't know yet how it looks, but everyone else is on the metaverse. Telemedicine is already half of the metaverse, right? It's tele, and you don't have to be there. But we're just brainstorming at this point.
So what is it beyond Zoom that the metaverse is? Is it Zoom is a way to or play a video game interactively with somebody around the world or lots of people around the world? It's us coming together and somehow collaborating, communicating, and not just texting each other, not just checking each other out, not just writing messages back and forth, but really collaborating, really being involved with a doctor and their patient, kids and their friends, playing a game together, whatever. I beyond just the doctor seeing the patient, is there something I'm not seeing to this whole thing? Is there more to it than just I get to see you remotely?
There's a lot more to it. Behavioral health, mental health is almost completely telemedicine these days, right? What if you can create environments that are therapeutic?
Wow. All right. Explain that to me. Well, like you go there to feel better. It's a relaxation space. It's a personal happiness place here. It's the holodeck on the Star Trek ship Enterprise where I get to go experience something that makes me feel better.
We could. We can create one. Yeah. I mean, look at that background of Arabian. It's peaceful, it's therapeutic.
Right.
What if somebody can put on their little Google glasses and walk around?
And actually, because that's the power of, I'll give you a little quick background. So I was asked years ago, because I run OC Talk Radio, to come and cover an event at UCI. This was years ago on the world of virtual reality, augmented reality, virtual reality. So I went to cover this thing, and when I showed up, they said, "Oh, thank goodness you're here. Our moderator called in sick. Could you moderate a panel?" I said, "I don't know anything about the subject, but I'll ask questions." And so I got to moderate a panel on this. And one of the things that I learned out of that experience was that the metaverse is very experiential, that augmented reality and virtual reality is so real that your brain can't remember, was I really climbing that mountain or was I just doing it through the goggles? And this is at a crude stage. It really has the potential to give you sensory experiences, empathetic experiences. You want to know what it's like to do something? Not just play basketball or climb a mountain, but to live in a third world country or to see yourself from another gender or another perspective. You can experience it and create an empathetic reaction. What do you think about that, Arabian Prince? Is this an experiential world that we're entering into?
Yes, I think it is. And one of the perfect things is that especially for what we're kind of getting ready to delve into on the healthcare side of things, it allows people who don't have access. That's one of the most important things, allowing people who don't have access to healthcare to explore inside, the metaverse and get help and talk to people who have the same conditions as them, or talk to doctors or physicians or alternative medicine. So we're going to be getting into all of those exploratory things in one world. You could never do that in the real world. You could drive all over the place to do that. But in the metaverse, it's right there at your fingertips.
So I'll throw out a radical idea. Is this a chance for doctors themselves, not just the patients, to feel better and to get access to services and a health professional, but is it a chance for the doctor to really connect and feel something for his patients again? Too many doctors, it's an assembly line. I see you for 5 minutes. Next, Next, you're just a number on, take a number and you move through at my office so quickly. I never create a connection. I have no understanding. I have no empathy for who you are. As opposed to when I grew up as a kid in the 60s and the 50s, oh my goodness, the doctor was your best friend. The doctor's what you went to see when you were just feeling troubled. Yeah, I know I got a pain in my chest, but he's like, well, what's wrong, Paul? You're not looking good. And he was almost my therapist or my priest or my whatever. I mean, there was an empathetic connection to the patients, the small town doctor who cared for you from cradle to grave. I don't know that exists much anymore in this industrialized medicine that we've created here. What do you guys think to that? I'll start with Dr. Trinh.
Yeah, it definitely, medicine has been, we've lost a lot of that doctor-patient relationship.
Yeah.
Because medicine has become so systematized.
Yeah, right.
Where you're part of the system as opposed to you and your doctor.
And you're just there for a service. I come in, you change my tires, and I leave. I don't have much of a connection with you beyond that.
So the one cool thing that we can think of about bringing healthcare into the metaverse is that healthcare no longer has walls and borders.
Okay.
Right? So the medical missions work that we do.
Right.
We're in with Tongue Out, we're in Vietnam, we're in Haiti, we're in Peru, we're in Oaxaca, Mexico, and different locations in third world countries.
Right.
Where people have no access to healthcare. Zero access. If you're up in the highlands or the mountains, you have no access to healthcare. But what you do have is many people have a cell phone with internet connection.
In the poorest third world nations, in the middle of Africa or Asia or wherever else, you find people with a cell phone, I'm told. Yeah.
Yes. So imagine the potential of what we can do to bring equity, to bring fairness, to bring healthcare to those who have a cell phone, but actually no access to a doctor where they live.
There's no road, there's no clinic, there's no doctor nearby, but I can access you from the most remote village in India.
And if we can create a system that allows folks to tap in to healthcare on the metaverse without those borders and boundaries, we can improve healthcare, especially to those without healthcare and access to healthcare.
But
we can create a system where it's less costly,
right?
Right, where it's less costly to access healthcare. So here you are, you're in Vietnam, and it costs so much, right, to see a doctor. If we can somehow create a system where you can access healthcare in the metaverse that is less costly, and by the way, in Vietnam they don't have US dollars, right? Yeah. They have the Dung, right? In England they have the pound. In France they have the I don't know, whatever they use there in France, the shekel, whatever it is, right?
The franc.
So if we can't change dollars and denominations around, why not use a coin, like a crypto coin, where everyone can use equally without worrying about which dollars or which financial part of the world you're part with.
I get that. I see the aspirational aspect of that. We're going to change. We're going to help the world, and we're going to make everybody have access to something they don't have. We're going to improve health, the amount of people who have health care. I'm wondering what effect it has backwards from the doctors in. Do I see the patient more? Do I see them less? Do I get to see them in a different environment where I'm like coming to their house, like the old doctors used to do when I was a kid? So therefore I'm making a house call, but the house call is virtually over your phone, but I see you in your house and your environment. Does that change the way I connect to the patient, or is it just all about patients having more access? Does it work the other way? Do doctors somehow end up becoming different because of this? What do you think?
I think it's both ways, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's going to change the way that people interact with each other in general. And, people are going to feel more comfortable interacting with doctors, because, you know, when you go to the hospital, you see a person, you see a doctor, you see a nurse, and that's it.
Right.
You don't get information while you're there. They're too busy to give you that information that you need.
Right.
But in the metaverse, the doctor, you can go in, and before you see the doctor, there can be, you know, a virtual walkthrough of the surgery you're about to get, or things like that. So I think it's going to really, really change the way people think about healthcare.
Does it create more? Do I get to see more FaceTime with people, or does it just make it less FaceTime? Now it's even more impersonal. I just check into my app, a robot asks me some questions, I fill out a form, and a robot automatically prescribes a pill for me. I never see any human being. Or is it a chance for, I can see that happening, or is it a chance for more human interaction because the doctor is making a house call to your house? You're at home, he's at home, and now we're just hanging out for a few minutes, and maybe I get to spend a little more time because he's not as rushed. I don't have to waste time going to the thing and sitting out in the waiting room, so maybe there's more time to spend with the doctor. I could see it going either way. What do you guys think to that one? I'll start with Arabian Prince. Is it, you guys all think this is going to be wonderful? Could it be bad and I just end up getting robo doctors?
No, you're going to get a little bit of both. You're going to get a little bit of both, because think about this. Sometimes you go to a hospital, you go to see your doctor, he doesn't even touch you. Like, you know, you're there for 2-3 hours, getting to run around, and you have to come back or something like that. So it's actually going to free up the doctors to give patients that need that more personalized attention, you know, a little more time, you know. So I think it's going to work both ways. Some people are not going to like it, but other than that, most people are going to, you know, embrace it, especially, like I said, people who don't have access or can't get to the hospital, but they need, you know, to speak to someone, or it's definitely going to help.
Well, I'll tell you one way I could see it helping. We've talked about this before. I'm part of a Blue Shield. I think that's my PPO. And I have a Medicare Advantage plan because I'm over 65. And part of what they did when they introduced me to this plan a couple years ago was pay me $25 to bribe me to go try a telemedicine, a tele-nurse, or whatever it was. And because I wouldn't try it otherwise. But you give me $25, okay, I'm sold. I'll give it a shot here. I'll test drive this. And I thought to myself, this isn't so bad as I thought it was going to be. Because I did feel like I got a little more personal connection with this person. There wasn't 12 people in the waiting room. If they were, I didn't see them. I wasn't waiting in line. I was there at a point in time, and I felt like they were really there for that, for me, for that half hour, 20 minutes, or whatever I got there. But I also wondered how much they really could tell just by looking at me. How much we weren't sitting in front of each other. Do you lose something by not being face to face, but virtually face to face? What do you think, doctor?
Well, if you're coming in for a prostate exam, it's hard to do on the
virtually
screen. Although I could do a digital exam.
Oh, his bad joke he uses every time we talk about this. Okay.
Digital exam. So, but so that, you know, obviously not every
procedure
medical encounter is appropriate for a video chat, right? If you're coming in for a physical exam, right, that'll be hard to do. Although maybe I could send someone to your home to do the physical exam, right? And get those things checked up. But a lot of things can be done by just a history and a conversation with the patient. I ask a lot of my doctor friends who are now doing telemedicine on a daily basis. I ask them, what percentage of your telemedicine visits were you able to actually give a diagnosis and a treatment plan? Without bringing the patient in, without bringing the patient in, and this is just anecdotal, right? This is not from a study or anything, but they're telling me at least 70 to 80% of the time.
Wow.
They can make an adequate diagnosis by getting that patient history, right? And
the observation, you know, you're looking at them for the sign. Is their face drooping? Do they look pale? How are they reacting to questions? Are they confused? I mean, a lot of it is just observational anyway. You're just looking at the patient, trying to look for visual signs as to what's there.
And a lot of the health data we can now collect remotely.
Yeah.
remote patient monitoring. Remember
Your
Huang
last
Yu
show.
last week?
Yeah, your last show, News Logic here.
Yeah,
I
News
was
Logic.
flabbergasted the amount of stuff they can get from. They can put an oxygenator on your finger or whatever that's called.
Yeah,
They can
pulse
monitor
ox.
your blood pressure and other sorts of, even your glucose level. All right, so Arabian Prince, why are you excited about this? You're not afraid of this. I'm still afraid of the metaverse. What are you excited?
Well, I'm excited because, COVID has changed the landscape of healthcare, period. Like, you know, God forbid you get sick or break your leg, you may not be able to get into a certain hospital to get the healthcare you need. So
Right.
if there is a metaverse that allows you to explore other options within your system, whether it's Blue Shield, Blue Cross, whatever you have, virtually, you can get 60 or 70% of the healthcare you need before you go to the hospital. Like he was saying, there are labs everywhere now. You can go down the street and do your lab work, have it sent to the hospital, and then go when you need to, if you need surgery, if you need, to have an x-ray. There's x-ray techs all over. There's so many services that are outside the hospital system now that you can do without going to the hospital. So I think that this is going to, like I said, decentralize a little bit, take a little pressure off the hospitals and the doctors, and allow everyone to be more comfortable and, enjoy it a little bit more.
So I'll tell you the two areas that did excite me about this is after hours access. My grandson's with me, and all of a sudden he's looking funny. He's got a strange color. Did he eat something? Whatever. So before I rush him to the emergency room and pay a bunch of money and stand in line for 4 hours, which I'll do if it's an emergency, but is this really an emergency? I don't know. He's acting strange. Yeah, he broke his leg. I'm taking him to the hospital. He's not breathing. I'm taking him to the hospital. But prior to that, there's always these times in the middle of the night, even when I was a parent, and you go, I don't know, is this a real emergency? Is this serious? Should we, or me, is this something I should do? And we always make that choice. And too often we hesitate because we don't know what to do, and we don't want to take the time and the money and wait in line. Maybe it can wait till the morning. Does this now open up 24-hour access to healthcare and health advice, guys?
Yes, it does. Go ahead.
What do you think, Dr. Trinh? Are there doctors doing the overnight shift waiting, or nurses waiting to answer my questions? Yeah, you better get to the hospital. That doesn't look good. Or no, that's fine. That toe's okay. My wife, the other day, a couple months ago, she was fooling around and she tripped and she tore her toenail off, and it's bleeding like crazy. And we're trying to say, what do we do? And we couldn't find an after-hours clinic. They're all closed now because of cost savings. We could go to the emergency room and pay a ton of money and wait in line for 4 hours, but I don't know. We ended up doing nothing. We just wrapped it and went in the next day. But we were nervous. And I wish we could have called somebody on the overnight shift and said, look at this. What do you think?
Well, it's unfortunate it was a toenail and not a fingernail, because if it was a fingernail, I would have recommended the secondhand store.
Dr. Trinh should be doing stand-up. That's all I know here. This is not about, I'm trying to be serious, and he's trying to make jokes here.
I should have brought my drum machine so I could do the little drum roll.
Exactly. Well, so what do you think about the after-hours access, and what do you think about the other one that Dr. Trinh talked about on one of his other shows when we talked about this, is the elderly access? My late aunt, who passed away a couple years ago, lived alone. Nobody ever saw her. She couldn't get out. She couldn't drive. And a week would go by, and no human being actually saw her. She was far away, so I couldn't visit her every day. I'd call her, but there are many days, did she take her pill? Did she get out of bed? I don't know. And too often, I think too many of us are just living in total isolation, and this could break that, where you'd feel better knowing somebody's checking in on you and checking up on you. What do you think of that? Yeah.
So here's something to add to that. Not only a healthcare person checking in on you, but other elderly people. Like, you can have communities of people who live alone that can be talking to each other, and somebody can go, oh, I think I'm having a heart attack. I feel this pain in my chest. Okay, yeah, I've had that pain. I think it's gas, but let's get it checked out. Let's have you talk to somebody, and we'll be here with you on, in the metaverse until help arrives or until we get to the bottom of this. So I think it's going to be community driven, which is something that you don't get in hospitals. No. So, yeah.
Dr. Trinh had somebody on a few weeks ago. One of the hospitals here locally has, what do they call them? Like, I forgot the term all of a sudden here. I'm blanking. But who's the woman, Etna, and what does she do with one of the hospital groups? She is
Hoag Hospital has a group of community faith-based nurses,
right? And
their goal is to go out and
to reach out to the community. Where is Joe? He didn't show up today here. What's happening out there? You're getting ready for a surgery, or you just had a surgery. It's what your neighbors used to do. Check in on you and see how the heck you're doing. So
that's right.
All of that could be done in the metaverse. So what's the downside of the metaverse? Is it going to make us more isolated and alone? We're never going to see people face to face. We're not seeing each other face to face here today. We're just chatting. We're connecting because we couldn't otherwise, but is this the only way we connect then? Do we never do anything really? Is it all virtually?
No, I don't think so. I think there's still going to be interaction, but I think it's going to extend your reach to people. So a lot of people that you're seeing in the metaverse, just like, I don't want to show my age because when I was young, they had the CD radio jamborees. You know, my uncle had a CD radio. We talked on ham radios.
Right. CBs, right. We would all get on and
go to the jamboree.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you would go to the jamboree or to the park and meet these people in person. You know, and I think the same thing is going to happen here. You know, you're going to meet friends and people who have like conditions and, you know, build a community where you go see them. So,
well, that was the potential and the promise of the social media revolution, is that we're going to build virtual communities with virtually anybody around the world. If you love Lithuanian rap music, and I don't know if there is such a thing, but if you like something really obscure, we're going to find other people of a similar mind, and we're all going to connect. But all it did is instead it created these echo chambers where all we do is rant and rave and say, yeah, I hate the world, and reinforce the negative feelings we have. It didn't enforce the positive feelings. Does this have that potential? Is it just a fear-based thing? What do you think?
It's what's interesting about the pandemic that hopefully we're getting out of at this point is that we were all isolated at home.
Yes.
Everything closed, shops closed, businesses closed, schools closed, and we were all at home.
Right.
And in talking with a lot of my seniors, older folks who I do a lot of talks with, these health talks and this community we built, their only access to community was through Zoom.
Wow.
Because they were shut down for months. It was their only lifeline to socialization.
And I sometimes think it's the only thing that kept the country moving. If we didn't have Zoom, if we didn't have telemedicine, if we didn't have the internet, if this was 1920 again instead of 2020, how much more isolated we couldn't work from home. We couldn't order food from home. We couldn't talk to people from home. So maybe it moved us into this metaverse whether we wanted to or not.
It actually definitely sped up metaverse and telemedicine. And, 2019, hardly anyone was doing telemedicine other than behavioral health and psychiatrists, talking to their patients.
Right.
But now in 2022, everyone is on telemedicine on a daily basis.
So what, Arabian Prince, what do you look for? You're experimenting in this space. Give us some exciting things, some developments, something you see on the horizon that we don't see yet.
I see like the extensions of healthcare, the extensions of the hospitals, the extensions of the doctors and the nurses. Also, alternative medicine is going to be on the rise because now, remember alternative medicine, I remember, it was like, oh yeah, go take this tincture thing.
Right. If
you've got a backache or something, and you would get this little thing from CVS and you try it, I don't know. But now you're going to have health you know, professionals that are in the alternative space in the metaverse. So people are going to have more choices, I think. And some of the technology behind it is going to get better, because right now I call the metaverse Donkey Kong 2.0, because most of it looks like Donkey Kong, or Mario. It's going to get more live. It's going to be more photorealistic. So I think once we get there, it's going to really, really change the game.
Talk about alternatives, because Dr. Trin's done a couple of shows. He had somebody on a while ago, a Chinese traditional doctor who does acupressure that I've done some work with as well. He's had others on that talk about a few of these kinds of alternative theories, whether it's Chinese medicine, Indian Ayurvedic, herbal, homeopathic, chiropractic. There's all sorts of other ways to view the world, particularly when it comes to chronic, persistent problems that Western medicine ain't got no answer for. I can cut it out, or I can give you a pill to cover it up, but I don't have any way to really fix your chronic diabetes, your ongoing fibromyalgia, your anxiety, your tension, your headaches, your back pain. I got nothing for all that. Is this a way to expose more people, or is it a way to treat more people through alternatives? What do you think, Arabian? You brought it up. Is this going to increase our already interest? Because I'm interested in alternatives. As I go to my doctor, he says, I got nothing for that.
I think that it is going to definitely help. And I use this analogy. When I talk to people about this, like, hey, imagine, you have high blood pressure, you're obese, you have diabetes. The doctor says, hey, you need to exercise, you need to eat more.
Right.
And as soon as you leave the doctor's office, what do? You go to CVS or the grocery store and you buy a box of Twinkies and a bunch of soda,
right,
and go get a double cheeseburger somewhere, right? But in the metaverse, you'll have people that have similar conditions as you, and you'll have a support group that can help you. And the doctor will know, because of the connected, like, we're going to be working with a bunch of wearable companies as well.
Right.
So it's going to be kind of like, okay, hey, they know that you're not doing what you're supposed to do. They can see your blood sugar levels going up in the metaverse, and they'll be able to help you a lot sooner and save some lives.
And there are ways. I can't exercise. Well, yes, you can. You can buy a Peloton or something like that, or any of the other ones copying it. And I can virtually exercise, or I can really exercise, but with a virtual support group or a virtual coach encouraging me, pushing me. I can see other alternative practitioners. Maybe it is a Chinese. He's going to talk about my chi and my meridians and all these other things here. Maybe it is somebody who's an herbal specialist or a dietary specialist. You've had that other woman on who talks about diet and stuff here. Those are other tools that doctors don't have in their toolbox right now. They tell you to go do it, but you got to go do it.
Absolutely. Like I say, the metaverse takes down walls, takes down borders, and it allows somebody in another state maybe to talk to and get care from a doctor in a different state, or someone in another country to get care from somebody else in this other country, or maybe a specialist in another country that has a skill set that is not available in our country. And that could include holistic medicine, integrative medicine, things of that sort.
Will it increase our fascination with all things non-Western? We are interested in, I don't know anything about Indian Ayurvedic. I think it has some similar, I really don't even know what the principles are of Indian Ayurvedic, but I know millions of people in India have a different approach to medicine than we do here. I know a little bit about Chinese medicine through Dr. Chen and others I've worked with through the years, acupuncture, acupressure, your chi, your energy system, whether it really exists or not. There are people that it does seem to have some anecdote, a lot of anecdotal support for thousands of years that there's something else going on in our body that we're not doing, or the cannabinoid system and all these other things we're discovering. There are all these other things that have been floating around. And go to my doctor and they either say, I don't know, or they kind of make that face like, well, if you want to do that, fine, but I don't do that. So is there a way to get more of a holistic approach and a more a giant catalog of choices as opposed to a pill and a procedure? What do you think, Arabian Prince? Is this going to make?
Bingo. You hit the nail right on the head. You have options now. You have people that can give you, not saying that they're going to give you advice that, that could be the wrong advice, but you can make your own decisions, and you can talk to people who may have, had the same issues as you and used alternative medicine over regular medicine. And I'm not saying alternative is better. I'm saying, a lot of doctors are still using some types of alternative medicine as well. So
yeah,
it's all about
choice. Choice
Yeah.
and access. It just
choice
makes
and
the,
access.
it
Bingo.
makes-
We need to hire you as our PR. Choice and access. I like
Well, I did PR for 20 years, so I'm good at this. I know how to turn it into a catchy phrase here. I think that, so what is, I'm still struggling. What kinds of things is this super secret? Is this a secret lab right now here over at UCI or someplace? Or do you have something tangible that you guys envision working together? Because you seem unlikely collaborators. A rapper and a Vietnamese doctor who works with Alzheimer's. I don't know that you two would ever even connect outside of the metaverse here.
Well, I can rap.
Well, I have no doubt about that.
Oh yeah.
Dr. Trinh does all sorts of crazy things. I mean, what? So anything that you can sort of tease us with about this collaboration? What is it? Are you building a company? Are you just experimenting? Are you exploring options? What are you guys doing together here?
you want to talk about? You want to tell them?
Nobody wants to tell me. It's a big secret. I don't know. Right.
Rapping.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some amazing. See you guys later. Take care. Thank you, but good pal. I gotta get this in. I just got finished playing with some friends of mine. My playing partner, we're betting for quarters. Don't tell the bets.
Don't tell anybody here. I want you to report this on your income here. You made $1.50 today here. Yeah, okay.
My playing partner is 87 years old.
What? You're not playing with an 87-year-old golf.
He still walks the golf course with his push cart, and he hits the ball pretty damn well, and he putts like crazy. So that's my new playing partner.
Okay.
Yes.
And you're cleaning him. You're cleaning him out of all his quarters here. I'll bet you're playing with an 87.
No, he's on my team. So but yeah. So what I was going to say to you is that we're working on something very cool, very hip. I'm not sure how far Dr. Trinh wants to go into it here, but
it's just us talking. It's just us.
We got something major coming. Let's just put it like that. Major coming. Okay. And we're going to have a white list so people can get in early. So you'll be one of the first to know. So we're going to give you the scoop before everybody else.
I hope so. I want a chance to invest. I want to come in. I want to help you guys out here. I'm already excited and I don't even know what it is.
Well, you can go into it a little bit, Dr. Trinh.
Well, let's just say I can do a digital exam for you.
No, don't go there again here. Is this super secret? Are you coming up with a new application? Are you coming up with a new idea? Are you coming up with a new technology? What are you looking at?
It's going to be an opportunity for the community to get involved.
Opportunity for the community. If that's not vague, I don't know what is. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's an opportunity that is going to be in the Web 3.0 world with community involvement.
But I guess I'll press you one more time and then I'll quit because you obviously don't want to tell us. But is it a technology like your friend from NewsLogic has a reader, has a device to gather information, transmit it? So is it technology? Or is it an application? It's something we're going to create a relaxation space. You're going to create a use, or are you creating a new technology or a new idea altogether here?
The answer is all of the above.
Yes.
Yes. Because I know that Arabian Prince, we had him on a show here for UCI. He's very into technology. I mean, you're a guy, talk about that for a second. You go to conferences, crazy conferences, printing conferences, as I recall, and all sorts of crazy. You want to know something about technology, you go to the trade show, you delve into it, and you understand. In the same way as a kid, you understood electronic music when nobody in the neighborhood did, and you just started playing with all this stuff. So you have this kind of
yeah, 1,000%. I think I was going to say, you have, in order to be successful, you need to know your market. You need to know about all technology. I often say that the future of technology is one. Everything will interact. Music, entertainment, those things have just as much to do with health and wellness as anything else. So everything is one now. So you got to look at the world that way, and you got to look at technology that way. So you got to explore all technologies, and that's what I do.
And you certainly have a track record. So talk about some of the things that fascinate you. Because do you still go out? Does NWA doesn't ever get together and perform or anything? You guys, or do you? I don't know.
No, we don't. But I actually did a concert with Ice Cube this weekend in Salt Lake City. It was a big old school show. Ice Cube, my girl group JJ Fad, Sugar Hill Gang, Dog Pound, a bunch of groups like that in Salt Lake City at the arena.
Right.
So we still get out and do some things. I'm not that old yet.
So you still have some connection with the music business, but are you trying to, you're involved in all sorts of other investor startups and entrepreneurial things. Well, what kinds of technology, like this thing GOAT that you're saying on Zoom here, what is GOAT, this other company you got here?
Yeah, so GOAT is actually my streaming PC company, believe it or not. I have a streaming PC company, gaming, I guess you'd call it a gaming and streaming PC company. A lot of the top DJs on social media right now are using my computer to stream with on Twitch and other platforms. So yeah, I started that during the pandemic just to help people out to be able to stream and make money.
There you go.
Nice.
So you're into streaming.
What is Innovate? I saw something Innovate. What is that?
Innovate. So Innovate Next is my company. It's a company that gives access to people in the inner city to be the next entrepreneurs, be the next technologists. And we're working with the Department of Education. We're working with a bunch of school systems and building technology centers across the country for kids in the inner cities.
Wow. Because is there still a digital divide, and is that growing? If I grow up in Compton, am I less likely to understand computers and programming than if I am in Irvine here?
Oh yeah, 1,000%, like 1,000%. And that's why we're doing it. We're actually putting in 80 computers into Inglewood High School and teaching them how to use Unreal Engine. So that's, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's coming. So, and we're doing that as we speak.
Because that's, to me, the unspoken or untapped potential of the internet and the Internet of Things, where everything is all connected. Meaning that a kid literally sitting in a village in Africa, in India, in some places, I mean a village like a straw hut, but has a cell phone, has access to all the same tools that I do in affluent Irvine here. I can learn to code. I can learn to program. I can create apps. I can tap into the database of the world. It's what the Khan Academy is all about. I forgot his name, the guy that started Khan Academy, something Khan. And this idea of you don't have to go to a privileged portal to a university and pay a bunch of money. The access is here. Anybody can get this now. What happens when you unleash billions of kids who otherwise would be stuck, I don't know, subsistence farming now? Instead, you can unleash their creativity, you can unleash their brain power, and what happens when we harness that potential of all this unused talent around the world here?
Yeah, you're going to have a bunch of geniuses like you do in other parts of the world, because, as in India and China, they start the kids out, in technology.
Right.
They start them in technology, and they all end up being programmers and engineers and all of those types of things. We need to do the same here in our country and start the kids in technology at an early age. They all have phones, like Dr. Trinh said. They all have phones in their hands.
Right.
They all have technology in their hands now. Their computers, these phones are more powerful than the space shuttle computer was.
Yeah. Right.
That's mind-boggling, right? And they're not using them.
for the progression of their self-worth. And that's what we want to change.
I remember seeing years ago, it's another example I always give. I was watching a talk show, and they had one of these kids on that's behind this group Anonymous, these worldwide feared hackers that bring down governments and institutions to make a statement or just for laughs or whatever, but they hack into stuff. They call themselves Anonymous, and they brought down literally government institutions and giant corporations. And they found one of them. Of course, it's illegal, and the FBI found him finally, and they recruited him. And it was a kid from the inner city in Harlem. I think he was a Puerto Rican kid who was, his mother's lives in the project, and he had nothing to do all day except play with his little smartphone. And he was smart, and he figured it out and taught himself, and he became one of the top hackers in the world. He didn't go to MIT. He didn't go to Harvard. He wasn't. He was at home with a smartphone and an endless amount of time, interest, and talent. And look what he was able to do. What happens is that will this whole metaverse and this whole internet that we've created unleash? It will democratize. It will flatten out the growth. You don't have to go through a privileged portal to be Bill Gates anymore and go to Harvard. You can be a kid in a village in India and create something revolutionary in a town that has no running water.
Absolutely. Yes. Bring equity.
Yeah.
And also, you know what? And let's go back to the metaverse. That's going to be proliferated in the metaverse. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, especially in this thing that we're kind of doing, this thing.
This thing that we still don't know, that Dr. Trinh, you keep setting him up and he's saying later.
Well, that thing is going to allow young kids to learn about medicine, you know, and maybe we spark somebody's imaginations. Like, you know how when you were younger, it was like, you're either going to be a doctor or a lawyer. Well, there was no way to learn unless you went to school, you know what I mean? Unless you saw like some TV show or something. But now in the metaverse, you'll be able to see real surgeries or virtual surgeries and see if you really want to get into that kind of stuff.
And maybe inspire you in a way that you couldn't in your own community. Again, we'll use the village in India. There is no doctor in the community. There is no entrepreneur in the community. So even if I know these things, and first of all, I may not know of them, but now I do because I'm online and I know these things exist, but I still have no mentor. I have no way to show me the path forward to that impossible, to be a rap star, to do anything. I'm limited in my choices because I live in a world where we're just trying to get by, and whether it's in Compton or in some third world country, there are too many of us just trying to get by day to day. And we look around, there are no choices. You're going to go work at the factory. You're going to go do this. You're going to go work on the farm. That's your only choice in life. And now this little thing you hand them, I get to maybe get inspiration and mentorship and knowledge. And suddenly I've got people from all over the place who can rise or fall and do anything that they want to do because they have access and information.
1,000%.
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. We are up on time, guys.
Yep, we're out of time. Give us some websites, Arabian Prince, that we should check out about you and the work you're doing.
Oh, yeah. You can go to my website at Innovate Next, INOV, the number 8 and next.com, because rappers don't spell anything correctly. So I'm trying to do it cool and him. Or people can find me just at OG Arabian Prince on Instagram or LinkedIn or all the other social medias. We're doing some amazing things. Stay tuned for our, drop in the healthcare space. We're going to change the world.
Drop. There's a microphone drop coming. There's a mind-blowing drop coming. We'll just leave you with that. And Dr. Trin's smiling. He won't give us any hint about it, not any whatsoever. What's the time frame? Any ideas when we're going to hear this drop? Is it this year?
Okay, how about this? Can we come back on the show?
Yeah.
What day is this? Can we come back on the show on the week of the 26th?
That would be next week you're talking about?
That next week? That's 2 weeks.
2 weeks from now. Yeah, right. What do you think, Dr. Trinh? It's your show. You want Arabian Prince to come back?
Sure.
But we got to drop something. We got to tease him. We got to set it up.
We'll spill some beans in a couple of weeks. How about that?
I like that. I'm a I'm a spill beaner, Bill Speener, whatever, a bean spiller. We want exclusive. We want same thing. We'll promote it. Tune in. We're going to have an exclusive right here on OC Talk Radio. That's a
You'll get an exclusive.
All right. Well, we'll see you in 2 weeks. And Dr. Trinh, take us out.
All right, guys. Great Metaverse chat. Thanks for coming on, Arabian Prince and Paul. And we'll come back in 2 weeks and spill the beans, whatever those beans are. It will be spilled here first.
I'm assuming they're going to be magic beans like Jack and the Beanstalk had here.
Yes.
We hope so.
Okay. All right. Thanks,
Take
guys.
care, guys.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys.
Take care, guys. See ya.
Bye.
Well, there you have it, folks. We finally got them to commit. 2 weeks, they're coming back. They're going to tell us something mind-boggling. There's going to be an exclusive drop. There's going to be an announcement. Tell the world about it. The world is going to change in 2 weeks. Right here in North County's only community radio station, octalkradio.net. Streaming live from our studio here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.